Good afternoon. Good morning. My name is Andrew Spar, Andrew, SP as in Peter, AR. I'm a music teacher from Volusia County and president of the Florida Education Association. I want to thank everyone for being here today. We had over 100 educators come from around the state, some driving as long as 8 hours, to speak with the Senate Education Governmental Oversight and Accountability Committee. These members came here because lawmakers are interfering with our educators at a time when our educators have been on the front lines, making sure that our students are learning, making sure that our students are safe, keeping our schools going for the economic well-being of everyone and for the learning for our students. Our public schools are the best place for students to learn. Our public schools are the place where families come together. Our public schools drive the economic engine of our communities, of our families, and of our state. And what are lawmakers focused on? Trying to take away the freedoms of those who dedicate and sacrifice so much for our schools. Today we heard a few lawmakers say that it was necessary to interfere with what personal decisions our teachers, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our paraprofessionals, our office secretaries make. They said it's their responsibility to interfere with our college professors. Yesterday, we saw lawmakers saying it was okay to interfere with decisions high school students make with their parents as they go on to college. This is the time to support our public schools. This is the time to support our families. This is not the time to engage in political tactics with the intent of undermining the hard work of these people standing behind me today, all over this state. These educators came up here on their spring break because they care about kids. They want what every parent wants for their child, for their kids, and they call them their kids to be successful. Let's talk about how we close the achievement gap. Let's talk about how we make sure every child is getting the education they deserve. Let's talk about how we're addressing the teacher shortages and the staff shortages. Let's talk about how we're making college more affordable for our kids. I don't hear that discussion in the legislature, but that's the discussion we should be having. I want to introduce some powerful folks today. The educators in the state of Florida who came up here today to make sure that lawmakers focus on what's right. First up today, Caleb Lovely, who's a music teacher from Escambia County. Caleb?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes?
Use your teacher voice.
Well, hello. All right, so I have driven here on behalf of not only myself, but the future children that we have in our classroom. There is a targeted attack. And I don't care what the legislators say, this is a targeted attack on teachers and our rights and liberties to have our advocacy out there. We're here joining voices, movements, and making decisions for our children's future. But the power that we have is always up against opposition. For what reason? They have no good reason. We stand every day teaching our children, educating our children, inspiring the future leaders of America. And yet, we're always pressed against the wall because we have the voice. We have a voice to go against people who choose to diminish our children. I'll wait. Every day I stand in opposition of those who continue to diminish our children and their educational experience. And this is just one other attack that our union is put against, just so that we can have a voice for our children. So, when they say that they're not going against just teachers, it's a lie. And I'll stand here boldly and declare that it is a lie. So we're here to tell you the truth, that as a voice and as one voice for our children, we will not be moved by such sleight of hand tactics. And we will continue to press forward and go against any opposition that keeps our children from having a quality education and the advocacy that they are deserving of. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Next up, we're going to have a science teacher. Are you still science? Science teacher from Seminole County, Judy Ying. Judy?
Hi, my name is Judy Yang, and I am a high school chemistry teacher. I came up here today because we are under attack, and this has been an incredibly difficult year. The teachers are working 10 times harder than we ever have. The kids are not only working, but they're lost, and the parents are lost. And so what this bill is trying to do is trying to take more of our time and our energy, because if this bill passes, we're not giving up. We're going to keep fighting, and we're going to fight for our union, because our union is our voice, and our voice is what allows our public schools to function. And our voice is about our kids. It's not just about us. Everything that we do as union members is for our kids. And I thought about that when I was asked to come up here today. I'm here for my students. I'm here for my fellow teachers. And I do not think that the parents of this state really want to have that extra burden put on their teachers of what this bill would do. So I thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Judy. Next up, we have Harvey Slentz, who is a business professor from Florida State College at Jacksonville. Is that correct?
Thank you. Hello. This morning I saw the Bill 1014 being discussed by the committee, and a couple of things about it kind of disturbed me. First of all, before I became a business law and employment law professor, I worked for 30 years in an organization that was very closely working with AFL-CIO employees, and I had about 5,000 of them working with me. And one thing we found was that we could work together very positively and get things done that none of us could have done alone, because we were able to focus our energy on getting the work done for the benefit of the people that were relying on us. And I'd love to see that happen here instead of doing things like making all these little decisions that are being made now. So that kind of bothers me. And that's the biggest thing I'm going to take away from this, is that we're not doing anything to help our students or the employers who are going to need them in the future. That's really bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey. And next we have Jacqueline Dickey, who is a secretary in Pinellas County. Jacqueline?
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Dickey, and as stated, I am from Pinellas County. I am a middle school secretary, and I'm standing flat-footed here today on behalf of all secretaries at all schools. Yes, you may say that we sit in an office all day, we may not do anything all day, but I'm here to let you know that we advocate. We advocate not only for our teachers, not only for the secretaries, but last and foremost, we advocate for the kids. We are that middle person. We are that person that answers the phone. Yes, we are that person sometimes that speaks to the parents. So to silence us, to take away this right, to be a part of something that not only supports the teachers, but also support all support staff in all school districts across the state of Florida, we must have that say-so. It is our right to be able to advocate. It is our right to be able to stand and say what we would like to be a part of. So to support this is not an ideal that we would like to have. To say that no on 1014, that is what we need. We need to be able to have that voice, to have to say so on what it is that we want to do, not for someone else to step in and say, this is what we want you to do, this is how we want it to be done. So help us along our journey in getting this bill straightened out, get things said so that we can continue to advocate not only for just our kids, but keep in mind it's for your kids as well.
Before we get to our last speaker, let me just say this. I'm a parent. I have 2 girls who attend public schools in Volusia County. One who's about to graduate is a senior from Atlantic High School, and another who's a 6th grader in Ormond Beach Middle School. I want the same thing that every other parent wants. I want my kids to be happy. I want my kids to go to school and be excited about learning. I want my kids to be able to get the education they deserve. Not have access to it, get it. The people standing behind me fight for that every day. And it is their constitutional right to exercise that freedom every day. And that's what's under attack. Our final speaker is Frederick Ingram. Yeah. Sorry. There's one more speaker before our final speaker. The speaker before the final speaker is LaTanya Starks. LaTanya Starks is from Lee County, an elementary educator, I believe, right, LaTanya?
Just press that down. Hello, my name is LaTanya Starks. Yeah, that's just my name is LaTanya Starks. I am a teacher in Lee County. I'm a 4th grade teacher. And honestly, I had 2 plans this spring break. One of those plans was to do a near pod for my students, my whole team when we get back. And the other one was to visit some family. And as you can see, I am here in Tallahassee. Quite a drive. My sister said, I will drive you there. This is important. It's important that our right to advocate for our students and advocate for ourselves is not taken away. We should not have to be a go-between between us and how we communicate with our district. That relationship is a solid relationship as it stands. We already have things in place to prevent teachers from feeling pressured into things that they're not wanting to do as far as joining their union or whatever. And the honest to God truth is what we've done by creating this bill, or what they're doing by creating this bill, is making 10 more steps for us when we already have hundreds of steps that we are making for our students. I'd like to spend my time focusing on the students of Lee County and not focusing on how to stop something that is unnecessary and uncalled for and completely unasked for. Thank you. That is all.
Thank you, LaTanya, and thank you to all our speakers. Before we get to our last speaker, let me introduce him. Frederick Ingram is the Secretary-Treasurer of the American Federation of Teachers and immediate past president of the Florida Education Association. He is the parent of 3 children, 2 who are now at the university and college level, and 1 who is in high school. Without further ado, Frederick Ingram.
Hi, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? So, on behalf of Randy Weingarten, our president at the American Federation of Teachers, Evelyn DeJesus, our executive vice president, and the 1.7 million members across this country who teach our children every single day in and throughout our public schools, we want to say, first of all, thank you to these members who have come here on their spring break, on their vacations from all over this state, many of whom drove hours to be here, hours to speak for 30 seconds, to speak for 45 seconds. First of all, that says a little something about democracy, and it says a little bit about what we're doing here in our state's capital. The fact that our lawmakers will choose to pick on, to bully our teachers in their freedom to have a voice. And so my message to lawmakers is this. Our teachers have done every single thing that you've asked them to do. You asked them to go back to school in August, they went. Our teachers opened the doors and they went into classrooms where you didn't know what the answer was going to be to their health and safety. Where you could not answer the question whether our secretaries and bus drivers and paraprofessionals would get sick taking care of our most challenged kids. They did something that you made up called asynchronous teaching. They did something that you made up, and we've been telling you for decades that distance learning does not work. Distance learning is not the way that we should be educating our children. Nothing replaces the magic that happens between a teacher and a student, and we knew that, and we've been advocating that for years. And so lawmakers, when did teachers, first grade teachers, band directors, science teachers become the enemy? So my message to parents is simply this: we need your help. We need your help. If you're a parent within the sound of my voice, we love your children. We love your grandchildren. We love your nieces, your nephews. We love the kid across the street. We love the kid who has challenges, and we love the kid who's tall, and we love the kid who's short. But there are some folks out there who don't want our kids to be the best that they can be. Because if you attack the teacher, you attack the school. By attacking the school, you attack the family. By attacking the family, you attack the mom and the dad, who's simply trying to put two pennies together to feed their families. That's simply what we're trying to do. We are not the enemy, Mr. Lawmaker, and to parents, please reach out with your voice. If you're a civic and social organization, if you're a church organization, your teachers are in distress. We need your help all across this state, because we have lawmakers in the state of Florida that choose to be in the middle of a pandemic and pick on teachers and pick on those who would take care of our children. And so we need you. If you're a civic or social organization, church organization, if you believe in what's right for our public schools, then help us. Help us to defeat this bill. Call these senators, call these lawmakers, and let them know that what they're doing is wrong. And my final message is this: we don't know what the future holds, but we certainly know who holds the future. And that's every single child in the state of Florida. There are over 200,000 teachers in the state of Florida, but don't forget, this is an educational village. We have security guards who give their lives for these kids. We have secretaries who give it every single day to make sure that our schools are safe and secure. We have custodians who've been cleaning our buildings for an entire year to make sure that health and safety is our first priority. We have zone mechanics, because this is the state of Florida, and without a zone mechanic fixing the air conditioner, we can't teach at all. And so I want you all to know that this educational village stands as one voice. And if you are a colleague of ours, and you are out there, and look at your members, look at your colleagues fighting for you, I ask that you, the members of the Florida Education Association, stand together, stand upright, speak truth to power, and let these lawmakers know that we will not take this sitting down. They want us to lie down. They want us to go away. They did not expect us to come here today. Lawmakers, we won't go away because we love children. And this is our future. I want to thank Andrew Spar, the president of the Florida Education Association. I want to thank Nadi Riley, our secretary-treasurer, and in her absence, Kara Garantis, our vice president for the Florida Education Association. And first and foremost, every single member who came here, some of which drove 8 hours today. 8 hours to be here, to speak for 30 seconds. But that 30 seconds is worth every single kid, 2.8 million of them, that are depending on us to do our jobs every day. We simply need the help to do it. Thank you so much.
We'll take any questions. Oh, we're good. That's because we're educators.
I guess I'll go ahead and ask. So, could you speak to the specifics as far as the new tasks or changes that you feel like it would be a burden to educators?
Absolutely. Right now, if you want to go sign up for Netflix, you go online, you sign up for Netflix, and you're done. What this bill will do is it will increase the paperwork that educators who work in our pre-K through 12, as well as our higher education system, would have to complete on an annual basis at the start of every school year, when they're planning lessons, when they're trying to make sure their classrooms are set up, when they're trying to make sure they're ready for all of the kids who are going to get on those school buses, who are going to come into our cafeterias, who are going to enter into our classrooms. And they want them to fill out more paperwork there's one thing you can hear from educators is that we have way too much paperwork. And what these lawmakers want to do is add more paperwork and more burdens to the people who work in our schools. And that's what this bill does, plain and simple. And it targets only educators. Only educators. Law enforcement, our friends in law enforcement, our friends in firefighting, our friends, our other frontline workers, our friends who work in our cities and our counties, who are also public employees, are not the target of this bill. It is just the educators who literally give day in and day out for our kids, for our grandkids.
And then just to follow up to that, is there also a requirement for you to renew your application each year?
Every year. They require that every year you have to rejoin. You don't have to do that with Netflix. You don't have to do that with AT&T or Sprint. You don't have to do that with Comcast. You don't have to do that with any other entity that you have, but they're going to make educators do it every year.
Andrew, just to the point of clarity, there's another piece of legislation in the House that would prohibit teachers from having their union dues taken directly out of their paycheck. This bill, the Senate bill, doesn't do that.
It does do that. They amended it today to the same as the House. So it would do that. And listen, we had someone, I think it was Polk County, where they told Stephanie, are you back there somewhere? What was it? How many was it? 100? How many?
We have 159 payroll deduction slots in Polk County Public Schools.
Yeah, there's 100 and...
We're targeting 2, PEA and the AFL-CIO.
Yeah. So there are 159 payroll deduction slots in Polk County Public Schools, for example. And in Polk County Public Schools, 2 of them are for the unions out of 159. The 157 they're saying are fine. It's just the 2 that aren't. And I want to be clear here. For some people, they have things deducted like contributions to United Way, contributions to the Education Foundation, gym memberships, their health insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, car insurance, other kinds of things that we choose. It's a relationship between us and the employer. And they want to interfere with the relationship we have with our employer. Only educators. Only the people who are making sure this state is running every day. And the future is bright. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you all for being here. These are the educators of the state of Florida.